꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 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 꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 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 꽃이 피었습니다.
What is up, everybody, and a warm welcome as always to Reality Decoded, and thanks for tuning in to today's episode, Game of Squids, and especially when you could have chosen to tune in and watch anything else other than this. But we are going to be looking into the recent popular sensation coming out of South Korea, Squid Games, which has taken the world by storm. However, do not worry, guys, this isn't going to be a 5-hour long Fiction Decoded episode where we dissect every last little Easter egg and deep state reference within the entire series, which was 9 episodes long, and I'm pretty sure many of you may have seen it by now. And as I said, it is really taken the world by storm, as everybody seems to be up in the Squid Games. And just the other day, actually, I was at my local mall here in Cancun, where I now live, and there was a little sort of nerdy geek store that normally sort of sells like Marvel superhero type figurines, Pokemon kind of figures, and playing cards, that kind of stuff. And it was literally all about the Squid Games, the masks, sort of some figures, and sort of t-shirts and stuff. It was all about the Squid Games. There's a couple of other stores there similar to sort of Hot Topic type of apparel that was also advertising an awful lot of Squid Games stuff. But we are going to be paying attention a little bit in particular to the first episode, and in particular the first episode or scene from within the first episode when the games begin, which you are now kind of seeing in the background here, without any sound, in some over tracking music to try and avoid a little bit of copyright infringements. But nonetheless, this is the scene that we are going to be paying attention to, and this was called kind of a little bit equivalent to the sort of opening scene of Private Ryan, when they all sort of kind of landed on the Normandy beaches, and then all hell took place and broke out, with limbs in arms and bodies being blown to pieces and heads exploding from high velocity machine gunnery, which was pretty much the same of here. We saw like the contestants make their way into the arena, and literally before we knew it, hundreds of them were gunned down and murdered and didn't get to level up to play the next stage of games. And as you know, it is a sort of process of elimination, winner takes all. It's not an entirely new concept. This concept was sort of taken from a movie coming out of Japan in 2000 called Battle Royal, in which a bunch of sort of delinquent, underachieving teenagers were taken out onto an island, fitted up with an electronic collar that would destroy them if they disobeyed, and they were basically told to kill each other. They had 48 hours to survive. They were given a bag with a weapon in, and that was the sort of similarity to Squid Game, and it's sort of the genesis seed for this style of movie and video game. The difference with that and this movie, that the contestants kind of had to kill each other, whereas in Squid Games they are trying to avoid being killed. But we are going to look at something of interest that come to my attention today, so stay tuned as we do dive a little bit more into Game of Squids. Okay, so today on my Facebook feed, these images are popped up alongside a little short mention there from BBC Midlands that Coventry was welcoming a giant puppet of a child who had been on a 5,000-mile walk from wherever that country is. I can't see my eyes. Is it Syria? To rewrite the narrative on refugees. I'm not sure how a puppet of a child is going to help rewrite the narrative of refugees, and those are interesting words in themselves. But it is the fact that there is quite a stark resemblance to this puppet. I mean, it's not identical, but there is some similarities. Let's not deny the fact that it does look a little bit like the doll that we just saw in that little clip from Squid Games, shooting up the contestants during a game of red light, green light. And I did actually retweet this to Twitter alongside the headline. I wonder if she plays red light or green light. And I'm not to suggest that they are putting giant child puppet dolls into Coventry city centre that is about to start squid gaming the population of Coventry, but it is a little bit strange and spooky. Particularly, it is that kind of sort of Halloweeny time of year. For one thing, spookiness is always more spooky, and the fact that the recent success and popularity of the movie that kind of really did create an iconic cult hero of this weird and wonderful doll that killed hundreds of contestants in game 1 of Squid Game. But as I said, I posted it to Twitter, and this is where it does get a little bit interesting, certainly to me at least, because one of my followers on Twitter, I do hate to use that well, I wish we could use friends on Twitter, but I follow, follow for follow type thing. Someone I follow also, and she follows me, commented on this, that it reminded her of something that she saw in Liverpool back in 2012. So this is the giant doll that you can see now over at Wikipedia, and it was part of something known as Sea Odyssey, which was a giant spectacular, and it was a 3-door outside performance art by all accounts, so according to Wikipedia, back in 2012 in Liverpool. And as this particular exhibit at the Sea Odyssey, that the individual on Twitter that responded to that tweet I made about the doll in Coventry being very similar to Squid Games, said that when they watched Squid Games, the first thing they thought of was this particular doll in Liverpool from 9 years ago. Forgive me, almost 10, come to think about it. We're not too many months left of 2012, but it's very interesting to me, at least, that there's when somebody sort of posts and shares something very, very similar, you start to sort of see a pattern. Now, the other thing that's very, very interesting also during 2012 was at the Olympics ceremony, the opening ceremony, that many, many people said, my goodness, this was full of programmatics and predictions for possibly the COVID pandemic. There was dancing, nurses and hospital beds and everything, but there was also a couple of large doll-like puppets thrown in to boot, which you are looking at now. But that, as I said, was something to see, oh my goodness, there's a pattern. So for shits and giggles, I went over to my search engine of a choice, which is DuckDuckGo, just to see what would happen if I put giant dolls in a search. And wouldn't you know it, we're about to find out what I found. So first up at Inquirer.net, the headline reads, look, Squid Game doll spotted at Robinson's Galleria at Ortigas. And this was from September the 23rd, just last month, 2021. It's not very, very recent, but you can kind of see there, obviously this was probably maybe some kind of promotion. You can see in the background there's the series title and the Netflix logo alongside this, so it was possibly exactly what it was, a little bit of promotional work. And I'm not about to say as these dolls that we're seeing cropping up in cities, be they authorized or similar to the doll from Squid Games, are going to be armed with motion sensors, facial recognition, high caliber, high velocity sniper rifles that can be fired via artificial intelligence trigger fingers. But let's just say they could at least provide some kind of surveillance equipment or technology at the very, very least. But why they would need extra surveillance technology in a day of total surveillance, one can only wonder, but you can never be too safe. But anyway, as you can see, it is a sort of pretty carbon copy replica of the doll from the movie, and by the looks of the steps there, it does look kind of large, but it's 10 feet, the article says, and it is becoming increasingly popular, and it played an integral part in the recently launched Netflix series, and it's still pretty recent, to be honest with you. It's only been around for a couple of months, but as I said, it's taken hold of the world and captured the imagination of literally millions and millions of people. There are memes, there are apparel, there are figurines, there are masks, there are costumes, there are gifs, there are, you name it. It's been Squid Gamed, it's been branded, it's been merchandised, and it's also been etched and branded into the minds of the millions of people who have watched it, and has become, as I said, a very, very instant cult classic piece of pop culture. But the ready for the best part of it, the article says, our beloved goblin Gung Yu played a cameo role. This giant-sized doll can be visited at the Galleria in the Robinson's Galleria in Ortegas, and you won't find the doll anywhere else. So get ready to play the game, which is very, very interesting. Is it going to be sort of a virtual reality game? I'm not going to suggest that it is going to start sniping contestants who move when it's the red light command is made. But is it maybe they could sort of trigger some kind of activation with your phone in synchronicity, where you kind of play the game, and if you sort of do move, there's motion sensors actually in your phone that could synchronize up to this. Maybe they might give you an alarm bell, or make your phone do some sort of notification to say that you have been eliminated. And let's not rule out the fact that, dear God, let's hope DARPA didn't get Boston Dynamics to knock something up and construct some AI weaponized technology that resides in it. As I said, that was one particular interesting article that I found regarding giant dolls visiting cities in recent weeks. But it doesn't stop there. So at thecourier.co.uk, going down a storm. When will Scotland's largest puppet visit Dundee? Maybe when it's on a Toblerone bender and it's driving there barefoot in a Rover Vitesse 600, which is an Alan Partridge reference for some of you that may not be aware of it. But lo and behold, we've got another giant puppet circulating in a city in this time in Scotland, from September the 8th this year. And there it is, a picture of, you can see there. I'm not sure if you can make out some pyramid type symbology or shapes going on in the background. And this particular 10-meter tall puppet went down a storm in Anstruther. What a strange name, Anstruther. There's something got to be going on there with a town called Anstruther right there over the weekend last month, September 2021. And anyone who missed this giant automation known as Storm can catch up with her at an event hosted by Sustainable Dundee. Sustainable Development UN Agenda 2030. Is this gonna literally start squid gaming people to help maintain introduce a sustainable society for future generations to be able to enjoy a utopian life on Earth. But nonetheless, Storm is made completely of recycled material. Her eyes are the colour of oyster shells and her hair are thick strands of kelp. And her voice is the chorus of waves. But she's Scotland's largest puppet, and she was created by Simon McIntyre and Kim Bergesel, and requires 8 people to help her walk. She was originally supposed to tour Scotland during 2020 to promote COP26. 26 COP. I don't know what's going on in any of these events, but don't know if, as I said, I sometimes read through lines, clutch at straws, just to find conspiracy in absolutely everything. And is that my programming in what they've inserted into me as my prime objective, to keep me busy and occupied and out of trouble and harm's way. But she is, however, back on the road and making waves across Scotland's coastal towns, including a trip to Anstruther. Now, the article doesn't really say very much there, but that is another little example of another giant doll in contemporary rhymes being paraded around cities of the world. Now, are these just literally sort of coincidental events in which sort of giant puppets seem to be part of other exhibits or exhibitions? Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Hopefully I am, but you know what I'm kind of getting. Are they sort of art exhibits? Are they just sort of promotional props, or is there something a little bit more nefarious? Are they literally rolling Squid Game goals into cities, dolls rather, under cities, under the guise of exhibits, art projects, or you know, promotional stuff, and everything? Oh, let's go out and see it. But really, they do contain sort of some kind of technology, stroke maybe even weaponry that can be used against people. We are in very strange times, and as I said, I'm not saying that is exactly what they are putting them into place for. It is a matter of fact that there has been a trend and a pattern of giant dolls circulating the globe since the popularity of the Squid Games. And is this conveniently coincidental, or is it purposeful? Who knows? But it doesn't stop there, guys, because we've got an even more, and I saved the best one to last just because of it's got more references than just Squid Games, so stay tuned. So last but not least, from MSN.com, Little Amel meets Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland in Oxford City Parade. Now, I actually think that this Amel is the one that we started out this little rabbit hole, and incidentally it ends with Alice in Wonderland, who went down a rabbit hole, which was the other reference I was pointing out before we did look at this article. And if you can see there is Amel with a giant doll of Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And I wonder what you would ask Alice when she was 10 foot tall, which seems to be the case of this doll. It is a 10 foot tall model of Alice, and of course that was a Jefferson aeroplane reference, which you may have heard doing the rounds in the Matrix trailer for the new installment of that franchise coming our way in Christmas. But as I said, I do think this is Amel is the one that was sought in Coventry. In Oxford, I must say, is a city I hate more than anything on this planet. There's nothing more than I hate than Oxford, and in particular Oxford United, the shitty piss yellow and blue motherfuckers that live there, that are forever in the shadow of my beloved Swindon Town FC, the greatest football team in the world. So it does really pain me to even use the word Oxford in this. This is how much I care about the 6 people that may watch this video, that I will actually give the city some time of day. But it is interesting that this giant doll has been and met another giant doll of Alice, just because MK Ultra mind control references as well as going down the rabbit hole. Are they telling us there's a rabbit hole to follow here? We need to pay attention to what's going on with all these giant dolls. But the article doesn't really say much, and I'm not going to read too much of it. It just says that the UK city of Oxford has welcomed the giant moving puppet Little Amal with their own oversized doll of Alice from Alice in Wonderland and a parade of events. The show called Amal Meets Alice. I'm not entirely sure if we need to toss that into an anagram generator just to see what comes out for shits and giggles. But they were both giant puppets were involved in a procession through the worst city on the planet Earth. It is a city that is paved on shit and the product of excrement, feasting on excrement, consuming the excrement and wasting the excrement. That is pretty much how I would describe the city of Oxford. If you are from Oxford, nothing personal, but Swindon till I die, my friends. Who are not from Oxford, because I haven't got a friend or wouldn't like to claim to have a friend from the city of Oxford. But anyway, it's an interesting show, and it is a pattern of events that is seeing these large dolls, very similar to the one in Squid Games, popping up around the world. And what is the purpose of it? One can only wonder, but I did do just a little bit of scratching on the surface, and really and truly with just one search, this was 4 articles that come out without even really having to sort of scroll down or delve too deep, which I may or may not be inclined to do. But I did just want to point out that there was a series of these dolls, and again, just emphasize, I'm not telling you they are putting these into cities as part of an elaborate elite's real life version of Squid Games about to happen, but let's at least entertain the possibility that that could be what they are being put in place to. And is it kind of a Trojan horse, and is it easier to put a giant armored weaponized doll of Alice or Amal, or in fact the doll from Squid Games, just to confuse people and blind them, rather than put in death robots that look like the Terminator, or killer robots rather that look like the Terminator, or something out of RoboCop? But when I see patterns, which was the case in this instant, I do tend to think to myself, do I need to get my spade and start digging a rabbit hole? But without getting the spade and just sort of scraping a little bit of surface away with my hands, those were some articles that I've come up with or found regarding dolls very similar to that from the one in Squid Games. So that's it, guys. I am going to wrap it up now, although I could quite easily go on for another 4.5 hours talking about Squid Games and some of the references in fiction to be decoded within that, but we'll save that for another time maybe. Till that time, guys, take care, keep safe, stay out of trouble, may the force be with us, and most importantly, be excellent to each other. See you soon. Goodbye. This is Reality Decoded, brought to you from Shit Video Productions.